Hello, my name is Ashley Kunkel, and I am a new graduate from UNO. I was student taught at Westside High School, and I got my degree in secondary education with minors and endorsements in biology and English. Like I said earlier, I student taught at Westside. I pretty much I taught 11th grade American literature, basic, and then I taught an English 12 class, and I taught two honors biology classes. So pretty much, I was very, very fortunate in terms of incorporating technology into my classroom because Westside has so much technology available. Every student has a Mac computer, and then I was fortunate enough to have a smartboard in my biology room, and I ended up with a blackboard in my English classroom, but I still was able to incorporate some technology into that classroom as well. So I guess I'll start with biology. Biology, I took the smartboard training that UNO offered when I went to student teach. So I'm certified smartboard levels 1 and 2. So I took that training, and when I got to Westside, I watched the biology teachers for a while, and they were using a smartboard like a projector screen, like so many teachers do. And it was so frustrating to me. I just wanted the kids to touch it and like play with it and those sorts of things. So I slowly started to incorporate some things into my lessons or their lessons, and just like starters. So the students knew when they came in, I would have on the smartboard, I would have boxes, and then I would have vocabulary words, and each of the boxes would have just a category. And students knew that when they came in, they had to come in and slide the words over into the boxes. And I knew that the smartboard hadn't been used as much because my students didn't even know how to use it. They didn't know that they could touch it and slide a word. They didn't know how to put things in place. So that's one way that I just had students interact with the smartboard. Is at the very beginning, it was kind of like my jump start, or even during the class, I'd be like, all right, who knows what they are? And I would have them come up and touch the smartboard. And I made all my presentations using smart technology and those sorts of things. Another thing that I changed in my biology classroom is that I allowed my students to use their computers. Normally, they said, like, don't let them use their computers, they just get distracted, and don't let them use it to take notes. They'll start playing games, that kind of thing. So I set up the rule that, look, I know you don't smile at your notes that much. I know you don't smile at your pants. So if you're texting or you're smiling, like, you're going to make everyone lose the privilege. And so a couple times I did have to have everyone put their computers away, or I had that one person put their computer away. But overall, it was actually helpful because, for instance, if I didn't know exactly the question or the answer to a question, I would just tell them to look it up, and then they would share the information with the class. So not only are they helping me learn, but they're learning as well, and they're learning how to use their resources. In terms of my English classroom, I mainly implemented technology using their computers. I had them write on a Nebraska Writing Project blog that I was set up with by one of the other American Lit teachers. And pretty much it was just assignments, and they had to go on and they had to blog. So they went on and like I just have short writing assignments, and then they had to read other students' writing assignments and like discuss, kind of like what sometimes you'll do in an online class with Blackboard while you're here. It was just kind of like a big forum of how I don't know, they typed, and then I could go and I could see, all right, I could look at each student's profile and I could see, oh, they wrote under this assignment and they commented on this many people's things. So those were my big two of my biggest ways I incorporated technology. Also for the English 12, they did make a website. I didn't necessarily come up with that idea, but I helped implement it. So they read a book of their choice, and then they use like a Google website. They did it via Blackboard, but it was very similar to a Google website, and they created a whole website about the book, which is something I've done in previous classes and what I hope to implement in one of my classes. I guess I did that also. Sorry, I keep going on. In my biology class, when we got to ecology, I wanted my students to constantly be using their computer. So I created a Google website, which I can give to Wendy and she can show you it. But it's pretty much all about the ecology. And so each ecosystem I had a tab for each ecosystem, and then under that it had different links to different websites or videos, and it was just a very interactive learning thing. And they just had like a piece of paper and they filled out all the information that I needed, but it was up to them to find the information to watch videos. And I mean, I put funny ones on there of like a biker through Africa who gets hit by a gazelle and like that kind of stuff, just to make sure that they're like having a good time with it, because you can implement technology, but if you can't have a good time with it, it's not as fun. Um, I guess I've kind of talked about that. My biggest successes were mainly, I think that website was one of my biggest successes, because the students were engaged and they were interacting and they found the answers on their own. Like, I didn't even have to teach them that period. I just gave them the instructions and then they just went. I mean, obviously, you could do something like this in a computer lab if your entire school doesn't have computers like Westside did, but um, I think that was one of my biggest successes. My biggest struggle was probably in the English class with the blog. And it's not so much that like implementing the blog was the hard part, sort of, because my students weren't accustomed to using it in my classroom. So if it was something that I could start like right when I got there and my students were constantly using it and it was constantly like a type of assignment they could use, then I think it would have been much more successful. And I mean, that's the thing about technology, is that you can start something, but it runs a lot smoother if you start at the beginning and technology becomes part of your routine as you're teaching. Um, my biggest support or collaborators that I had during technology implementation, obviously the Jeff Grimbalds was the teacher at Westside who gave me the website for the blog. So obviously he was a collaborator with me. He was part of this Nebraska writing project. Um, and so he helped me help collaborate with me and figure out, like, showed me how to work the website and those kinds of things. But otherwise in biology, I kind of just did it on my own. I actually went and I showed the other teachers how to use the smartboard and how to set up things where they can, move words over, or simply just show them how to like throw a dissection on the smartboard so that their students can see it and like pick out all the parts and that kind of stuff. So it was actually pretty fun. So they went along, collaborated with me. They actually took a lot of my ideas and used them as like their jump starts or like how their bell ringers and that sort of stuff, just to kind of get the class going. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then, like I said, if you're going to use technology, like, use it to its limit, but then always have a backup plan. Like, always, you'll hear this anytime you talk to someone about using technology in the classroom. It doesn't always work, so you have to have a backup plan. Like, either students' computers will be dead, or the video won't load, or like the website won't even pull up, or the school's internet goes down. Like, any of that stuff can happen, and so you have to be able to accommodate and make it so that like, oh, no technology, all right, well, we'll just do this instead. So always have a backup plan. I know I've been stuck sometimes where I just have to come up with something at the spur of the moment because I forgot to make a backup plan. But ultimately, like, technology, our students are surrounded with it and they are always interacting with it. So to bring it into the classroom, something that they know and they always do, they become much more interested in the learning, and they want to do it. So I don't see why anyone would not use technology in the classroom. Like, the days are gone where you just sit and read a book and take notes. Regardless, there are moments for that. Right now, I'm teaching in biology and I have to lecture. It is what it is. But at the same time, instead of just lecturing, I put videos in that help explain it, or videos that even other teachers have made. Anything I can do to help my students through the use of technology. So lastly, to go along with this, Wendy just asked me to go over, right now I am currently teaching in a country called Bahrain. It is it's in the Persian Gulf, right off of Saudi Arabia and Qatar. But I did not even look for a job in Omaha. I'm teaching ninth grade biology and health, and I'm having the time of my life. I was encouraged to go teach abroad by some of my advisors, some of my friends, and I ended up going to the University of Northern Iowa Teach Abroad Fair at the beginning of February, and they have over 150 schools there. It's absolutely amazing. And you just go around and you run around like crazy trying to set up all these interviews, and then pretty much the rest of the weekend all you do is interview with schools and you learn about them and you try and find your perfect fit. And I found my perfect fit in Bahrain. um, I absolutely love it here. I have a tiny little classroom, much smaller than anything in the US, but it's becoming home. And probably the biggest challenge with teaching abroad is I'm not teaching American kids in another country. I am teaching Bahraini children, or children from Egypt, or children from Qatar or Kuwait. So the biggest struggle right now is just the language barrier. Like, my students don't understand simple words that I think they should know, like preserve or diversity. But it's definitely helping me tone in on my skills and really get some ELL experience. So that's very fun. But if you have any questions, you can email me. You can look at my blog. Wendy will show that to you. It's misskunkelbahrain.blogspot.com. I'll try and type it on the computer if I can figure out how to do this. This is the first time I've used iMovie. I just got a Mac. So, but thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at Ashley, period, ANN, period, Kunkel at gmail.com. So thank you very much. Have a good day.